Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Got a little something on the show we're going to talk about later where I wished for something and it actually came true. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to put you up on a little bit of game. Sean, I'm going to send you a text right fast and tell you about the one thing I'm going to talk about. I don't know if you got any visual aids for it, but I'm just letting you know right there. You see what I just sent you? You get a look at it.
Let me see.
You saw that story?
Yeah, let me try to pull it up.
Yeah, I forget what buddy name was, but she was fast. Anyway, I want to send a shout out to the Dallas Mavericks, and the reason I really want to send them a shout out is that I don't feel like they won game 4 for themselves. I feel like they won game 4 for us. And the reason I say I don't feel like they won game 4 for themselves is that flight from Boston to Dallas is long as hell, man. Let me look that up right now. That is a 4-hour flight. That's right. Because I was talking to Vinny before he caught the flight, and Vinny thought it was a 3-hour flight because of the time zone change, and I told him it was a 4-hour flight, and I definitely felt like I was the bearer of terrible news. It is a 4-hour flight. You know them boys, don't nobody want to go to Dallas again. You know Kyrie don't want to go to Dallas again, Sean. You know there ain't no way in the world that Kyrie want to go to Dallas again, but Kyrie got to go back to Dallas. I mean to Boston, my bad. I imagine what Sean is saying is fascinating. I have no idea because I couldn't hear a word of it.
Okay, I just realized I was muted.
Could.
I was looking up.
Oh, okay. You know what gets me when that happens though is I can't tell if I'm the only one. So I'm used to I'm just playing out the string, and then I'm like, damn, America might not be able to hear you neither.
What makes it worse is you nod your head as you are listening. I was basically saying, and the YouTube audience is now finally checking in that there's no audio. That if it was the original format of a 2-3-2 finals, I'd feel a lot more comfortable in Dallas. But Kyrie just can't do it in Boston. It's very clear.
Nah. And let me tell you, by the way, about me nodding my head right there. I got that practice for being on Highly Questionable. So when I was on Highly Questionable and we used to do these interviews, like Dan, bless his heart, would always try to share on the interviews, but that ain't what he wanted to share. You know what I mean? Like we tried it early and I realized, okay, I got to let Dan have this. And then I just pop in every now and then with a question. But sometimes, if I'm going to be honest with you, I was getting bored. You know what I'm saying? I'm just listening to somebody talk about the worst moments of their lives. And sometimes that shit really wasn't that interesting, right? Like sometimes they get into it. Some other times, man, I'm just giving that nod. I figured out like how to give the nod. So when I couldn't hear you right there, I wasn't going to sell you out, my dude. I was just going to nod. Instead, I sold out to people who was sitting there looking at us, wondering why they couldn't hear nothing.
It's what they call it, active listening, you know?
That's right. I don't know how to be a good friend. Like I done a lot of TV with people I didn't feel like listening to talk. You know what I'm saying? And when that happens, you just kind of like, you get into the zone of it. I saw some press stuff from Kyrie. Sean, I probably should have told you about this earlier, but I just saw it recently. It's whatever. But it was Kyrie talking about Boston. And, we talked about this the other day, that he needed to find the anger or whatever it is. But I do find it kind of fascinating that, and I don't think I got as much into this when we talked about it the other day, that what seems to get Kyrie about Boston, dare I say, seems to be a measure of guilt. Or I don't even know if it's guilt. Like, speaking of highly questionable, I remember very clearly when Kyrie decided that he wanted to leave Cleveland and go to Boston. Now, I would also make the note that that was the beginning of the Kung Fu Kyrie era, right? Like it was around then that Kyrie started talking like a fortune cookie and all of that stuff like that, and he was, there is, all the heavenly glory, right? Like he started doing that. And just so you know, if you saw Enter the Dragon, that was not an impression of just a random Asian man. It was an impression of the specific Bruce Lee voice in Enter the Dragon. Let me save myself for some trouble. I can't see Sean's face, but you never know. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood it was a particular. There we go. I'm safe. Sean said so. He ain't, from the same place as Bruce Lee, but whatever, it's going to work. But anyway, he started talking that noise. But I always cut him some slack because I understood. Yeah, because I understood where Kyrie was coming from in that he wanted more, right? Like he was not content to be a sidekick for LeBron James at that point. He himself wanted more. I was in a similar situation in my life so when I left Miami and went to New York. And I thought that people look at sports just through this, hey, you get to be on a champion, but he saw more for himself. Like that time period, for example, made me reevaluate how I saw Kobe Bryant and his dispute with Shaq at that point, where it's just like, no, I think I've outgrown what y'all are asking me to do. So, like, I was with Kyrie on that, but I noticed that he had started to get just a little ridiculous. But you'll also notice that he hasn't been the number one dude anywhere since then. Like, he had his chance to be that guy, and by all accounts, what went wrong is on him. I haven't found anybody that has made the argument that what went wrong in Boston had to do with anything other than Kyrie. And in those circumstances, man, you can always find somebody that want to bang on the city of Boston or whatever is related to it in a time like this. I ain't found not one person who was willing to do that about the Kyrie era in Boston. Whatever went wrong really seems to be his fault. Once he got out of there, they were no worse without him, truly, than they were with him. It all seems to fall on him. And like, listen to him from the press conference the other day. Like, this seems to resonate with him, or maybe I'm reaching, but you check it out.
What is it like for a player to come here to Boston when you look up and you see all the banners and everything, you know what this franchise is about and what the expectations are?
Yeah, I mean, you just expect to have a magnifying glass on you everywhere you go. You know, I don't think Boston appreciates being kind of second class in New York in terms of the media capital of the world, but this is a media capital of the world as well. There's a lot of history here off the court, so the community is integrated into the Celtics team. That's probably the best way I could say it. The community is what makes the Celtics great here. The Boston pandemonium, that's what makes the space so loud and so special, and they take pride in it. So if any player is coming here or getting drafted here or thinking about coming here free agency or getting traded here, I just think do your homework and make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. You know, that's something I could offer.
Now, he had also said later, he was like, if you don't integrate yourself, basically seamlessly integrate yourself into the Boston culture, you're going to wind up on the outs. And he said that he was on the outs because he didn't do that. But he also seemed to take blame for what it is. Now, again, the thing I keep saying is he seemed to be getting into the place of being a responsible grown-up about this, and the locals don't care. They don't. They're not. They're like, yeah, whatever. Fuck you, Kyrie. Like, it's just going to be that forever. But he going to have to let that go, or he going to have to figure something out, because they have a chance to win this series. I know it sounds crazy. And part of why I think they have a chance to win this series is we saw what happened with Boston and Miami last year, where Boston went down 3-0, brought it all the way back, took it home, and then, of course, went to bed. But when it went into Game 7, they had a chance to win Game 7. I did not think that the Celtics would win this series because I find them to be a collection of unserious people. And, of course, true to form, they look like those unserious people in Game 4. Dallas kind of sort of halfway, a little bit, tiny bit, has a chance. Kyrie has to show up if they're going to have some measure of chance. Derek Lively doing something. The Mavericks up until this point have been so much better with Lively. And he started looking lively again. Can I get it? I can't. I can't get no love for Lively. I can't get no love for Lively. Y'all out here throwing tomatoes at your boy?
The audio listeners won't see my thumbs down, but that's what.
Just say it. Just say it. Y'all out here. Yeah. Oh, Seb go. We get the rare Seb sighting out here, right? Like, I was actually sitting here thinking to myself before, like, you know what? One thing I ain't done right with this show is that we got Sebastian, a.k.a. Seb. Seb played Division I basketball. Seb's played overseas. He has a knowledge of basketball that I haven't used, and I've been thinking, man, I got to hit up Sean and be like, Sean, we got to find a way that when something comes up, the Seb knows about it. He 8 feet tall. There you go right there, a.k.a. Hartenstein. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, we can make something happen with this. And then the first thing y'all hear is him booing me, right? Here I go with my bright ideas, right? Try to share the shine and people throwing stuff at your boy. But tell me this, has he not been lively?
He certainly has, Bo. I don't think anyone will doubt that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He been out here being lively. But I'm going to tell you guys something. And I know this ain't going to matter to y'all, but it's the truth. Sean, you know how mad them reporters are that they had to catch another flight out there to Boston.
I mean, you said it, like that's not an easy flight. I wonder how many direct flights there are from Dallas to Boston. That's such a specific, like, airport to airport situation. And like, it's not like the weather is that nice up there. It's probably humid and pretty gross. And I don't know. I wouldn't want to go to Boston right now.
Well, the biggest reason that I wouldn't imagine that there are very many flights between Boston and Dallas is that quietly they're the same place.
That's
all right.
Yeah, I think
all right, Dallas.
That's a good observation.
Dallas is, yeah, me and Joel talk about this all the time. Dallas is Boston South. And no, I don't mean that in no good way. In all the things that you think about Boston, right? Dallas is just a different accent, but it's a very, very, very similar situation and dynamic.
Also, the sports teams are all pretty similar. Like the Patriots and the Cowboys give off like similar polarizing vibes. Same with the Mavs and the Celtics.
Well, the only difference there between the football teams is the Dallas Cowboys are without question the most popular team in America for black folks. And the New England Patriots, they don't even have black dudes that are worth wearing a jersey for. I went to that Super Bowl in Atlanta in 2019, like in January 2019, and I'm looking at all the jerseys. I saw like one Randy Moss jersey, but to be fair, Randy Moss had been gone a long time. The rest of it, man, they selling more white boy jerseys with that white Patriot man on them than anywhere else. And them dudes ain't, like, you ain't gonna tell me Julian Edelman is good enough to wear a jersey for. No. But I saw those. I mean, I did see a Patrick Chung for whatever it's worth.
Okay. I was gonna say maybe Vince Wilfork, like maybe some Wilfork jerseys, but he's not really doing it, right?
Nah. It's a little late in the game, and I just want to throw it out there about that Patrick Chung jersey. I feel like you had to have that made yourself, right?
Yeah, that's a custom. You can't. They don't have that.
I mean, I'm just saying. Like, I was there. It was a Patrick Chung jersey, and I was with Pablo, and he wasn't wearing it. So, like, I feel like whoever it was, like, they had to get that thing made up all by themselves. But this might be the last chance that we get to talk a little basketball here on the right time. And we talked about this before, that like once the basketball season goes away, man, it's tough sledding out here in the content creation game. And that's why I was glad that Boston came out here and they made this happen again. I mean, Dallas did. Actually, I feel like Boston, they lost by 40. I feel like Boston did. I'm going to ask this one question, though, about Boston in the finals. And I need you to let me know this. Sean, can you think of a time that somebody ever had an injury and the primary description of it was rare? Because that's what they keep telling me about this Porzingis thing. We know all the injuries pretty much. I diagnosed my own first-degree AC sprain when I fell off a snowmobile in Iceland. I went snowmobiling on a glacier. But I know, like, the sports range of injuries is narrow enough that I was able to diagnose it myself. And before you think that I was wrong in my diagnosis, I went to WebMD, and it confirmed my diagnosis, which is to say I got a second opinion. But I can't think of a time that an injury came out and everybody was like, whoa, never seen this one before. And that's what's happened with Porzingis.
I remember when Shams first tweeted it and I was trying to read and understand the terminology he was using. I was like, Shams, you could have just said lower leg, a rare lower leg injury. But he threw all these big words at me.
Everybody needed everybody to know, ain't nobody ever heard of this one before. Nobody. And so I don't know what to make out of that. Do you?
No, because like they said he recently played in a scrimmage. There was video of him walking around. He looked fine. So I don't know what the extent of his injury or what it actually means. Like, how long is he going to be out for, you know?
Yeah, there is nothing like when you get a look from your doctor of confusion. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in that situation. But like, for example, I guess a year or two ago, I can't remember when, I went and I had a quick little procedure in my ear. had a little cyst in my ear. They went in there, they got it out. Didn't seem to be a big deal. After I get done, the doctor tells me, he's like, yeah, send it off to pathology. Something that looked a little different. No big deal. But I just wanted to get a look at what it was. And I can't remember what he said it was. Apparently, it wasn't some sort of cancer or anything like that. But I will tell you, when he finally got back some understanding of what it was, he then told me he had never seen anything like that before. And the last thing that I have ever wanted in my life is for a doctor to say, never seen that one. And it's not like my doctor was 27, right? Like maybe if you was new to the game, and there's a lot of things that you see are brand new. Now, buddy been doing this a long time, and he was like, whatever it was that we just dug out of your ear, never seen that, but I should probably find out what it is. Bruh, I was shook. I remain shook. And that's what they telling Porzingis. Hey, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Bad news. With Prize Picks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and you're locked in. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. But rather than hearing it from me, let's hear from somebody who actually uses Prize Picks. Sean, how the picks been going for you?
Bo, I was worried about making picks after the finals ends, but Prize Picks has me covered with so many other sporting options from the MLB and the WNBA and even gaming. I can make picks on just about any sport. So, if you stick around for the end of the show, you can hear my combined picks with players potentially like Asia Wilson and Angel Reese or Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge.
There we go. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Hey, let me put you on real quick. I got something you need to check out. You ever heard of the BLK app? That's BLK, not black, the BLK app. And if not, you're missing out. So check it out. BLK is the largest dating and lifestyle app made specifically for the black community. Now, for those thinking it's just the same old scene, it's not. BLK switched things up. Sure, you can find a boo if that's what you're looking for, but if you're looking just to make friends, network, or group chat with folks based on shared interests, or find out about events happening near you, BLK's got all that too. The app has been around for almost 7 years now, and over 11 million people have downloaded it. That's like the populations of New York City and LA combined. If you've downloaded the app before and deleted it, re-download it because they've introduced a bunch of new features and there's new people to meet on the app. Oh, and did I mention that it's free? Yep, free. So go download BLK today in the App Store or on Google Play. It's free, it's fun, it's for us. Check it out and let me know what you think. What happens when the brightest minds in sports and fashion join forces to create the next great athletic brand? Greatness wins. Greatness Wins athletic clothing has completely transformed my workout game. Founded by e-commerce entrepreneur Chris Riccobono, sports legend Derek Jeter, and American Ballet Theater principal dancer Misty Copeland, Greatness Wins is where the demands of sport meet the science of fit. Unlike other athletic brands that prioritize fashion over performance, Greatness Wins combines high-performance functionality with a modern, stylish fit. Made from premium, long-lasting fabrics, Greatness Wins products are built to withstand the toughest workouts. In fact, the Greatness Wins collection is curated and tested by the world's greatest competitors, meeting the highest standards for quality, construction, and endurance. And I've been talking about it, but I've been in the gym getting my workouts done, and I've been rocking my Greatness Wins gear, which not only looks dope, but is super comfortable to wear. And don't forget Father's Day is right around the corner. If you're looking for the perfect gift, look no further. Upgrade your athletic wear at greatnesswins.com now. Use code Bomani and you'll receive 25% off on your first purchase. Greatness Wins, where the demands of sport meet the science of fit. Check them out now. That's greatnesswins.com, code Bomani. All right, so when we relaunched the podcast with Wave, which is now, Sean, 9 months ago. We have been doing this now for 9 months.
Pretty crazy.
When we relaunch, yeah, it's wild, right? But like when we relaunched this, one thing I had said, and I've tried to be relatively consistent in this, and if I failed, feel free to let me know. But I really had kind of changed or wanted to change kind of the approach to the work that I'm doing. I don't know if it's changed as much as I just wanted to emphasize more than ever what we enjoy and we like about sports. And I wanted to lean more into the things that feel good, right? Like the things that hit us in our chest and that resonate with us and that brought us all here in the first place. I think in the face of all the gambling and the way that social media kind of has infected the way that we communicate with each other, that I thought that there was a real value for us to like really get back to what feels good. And I gotta tell you guys something. We've all like tried to dabble a little bit in this whole WNBA thing. And I gotta tell you guys, as of right now, it doesn't feel good at all. As of right now, it is exhausting. And the problem is not the WNBA. The problem is not the women who play in the WNBA. The problem is you. The problem is you people. What people? You people. Every last one of you motherfuckers. It feels like every single one of you people is the problem. You can make an argument that I'm the problem, and you know what? I'll be that if I got to. But it feels like every single one of y'all. Like you want to talk about a no feel good situation. Shaw, right now, I'm gonna read through the top headlines on ESPN.com on the WNBA tab. Okay, Reese riled up by her foul call on Clark in loss. Clark nets 23 as Fever win 2 in a row for the first time. I guess that one feels okay. Aces add Wilson help by signing rookie Carter. Okay, you know. Wings Ngumboale, politics and Olympics discussion. Wilson emotional after sliding Aces fall to Liberty. I think that's when Agent Wilson was crying in the press conference because they 500 right now. And I don't know how it works in that world of basketball, but when you're that many games behind in a 40-game season, it's an indicator your team actually isn't good. It's not just about a slow start. Serena Lodge Clark hopes she'll stay grounded, but even that's talking about the other stuff and staying grounded within that. And then Fever's Clark, don't use me to push agendas, because you remember it was that thing where they was asking Caitlin Clark to shut down the racism of the people supporting her, and she like, but don't nobody else like me. Who am I have left? Y'all just trying to have me out here fighting against the world. Oh, okay. But nothing feels good. All of that stuff just gets to the feel bad place. We had the flagrant foul thing happen over the weekend, and I'm just going to throw this point out here, okay? On one hand, I see the people saying that they can see I think it was Danny Cannell, and I got to be careful because so much of this is social media, but I saw Danny Cannell say something about how you could see the hate in that foul. And I'm like, buddy, I think you're going a little bit too far. The other side, I see Jim Trotter of The Athletic refer to that foul as a normal flagrant foul. And somehow, neither of them realize they sound ridiculous. Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't normal flagrant foul a bit of an oxymoron?
I'm like, there's no, it's flagrant. It's a normal flagrant foul is a foul.
It's just the everyday flagrant foul. That's not how flagrant fouls work, right? On the other end, you can see the hate. Y'all are acting like Howard said it last week, y'all acting like she Jackie Robinson. It's not that either. But what you're not going to do is tell me this. You're not just going to tell me that she was playing the ball. Angel Reese was playing the ball. You're not. And this is all I'm going to say on that. Maybe she was playing the ball, but she didn't seem to be particularly concerned with playing the ball well. Why do I say that? Because she had another teammate who was playing the ball, and somehow neither of them ended up near each other. They was both playing the ball, and they ended up in two different places, and one of them didn't get close to the ball. Wasn't anywhere near the ball. And who was the one that wasn't anywhere near the ball? The one that hit Caitlin Clark in the side of the head. Now, again, you can make an argument that these things happen in basketball, certainly. But what Angel Reese said after that, I always play the ball, that's when you know somebody's trying to get you. When you know that when people go to the absolutes, like not even a, hey, I see where you might be coming from. I did hit her in the side of the noggin. No, I always play the ball. Oh, okay. You go look at that clip and just tell me how come she was nowhere near the ball. Now, again, do I think that's the biggest deal in the world? No. Do I think that is something that needs to be on CNN? No. Do I need people to lie to me and act as though at the very least getting the ball would have been a plus, but missing wasn't the worst thing in the world? You're not going to fool me. You're just not. And I feel like everybody now is trying to fool me, and it gets to be annoying for this reason. It's just dawned on me today. Because, again, I'm a relative newbie to this WNBA stuff. And so I don't have, like, by memory, a great handle on the way that the schedule works. And I knew they were taking an Olympic break. So from the middle of July to the middle of August, from the middle of July to the middle of August, they're taking a break for the Olympics. You, oh my God, I'm talking about the calendar like it's freeways in LA. Like I'm gonna take the 91 to the 57, right? But yeah, it really is messing with me, Sean. What was I gonna talk about?
The WNBA schedule. Yep.
The schedule. Sean, do you realize that they playoffs start in the middle of September?
Tough.
Which means that this is all going to be happening in the middle of football. And good God, I don't know what's going to have to happen in their series for us to be talking about them in the midst of the football. Like we might have L on a couple times and get it in there for a measure of conversation. But it just dawned on me. Our time to actually get into the basketball is right now. And we are not doing that. We are not doing that at all. I looked at the standings for the first time. Sean, I feel like the teams that got all the rookies and the players that we talk about, Andrea Carter said it this morning on ESPN. She said that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are having a mid-off. She said they teams is both so mid that they just having a mid off. All the players that I hear people talking about, they teams is wild mid. Even the aces, they mid. They 6-6. The definition of mid. The Fever, they're 5-10 and have the worst point differential in the league. The Sky, they got a worse record than the Fever. Everybody we talk about is the mid. We got to get to this basketball as soon as possible because this is our opportunity to talk about the basketball because after this, we ain't going to be talking about basketball, man. We going to be out here talking about training camp and everything else. And so we're in this space right now where these polarizing topics, I guess we'll call it or whatever else, are like the centerpiece of everything that's going on. But this is the chance to really get into basketball and at least in terms of general topic discussion, that hasn't happened. The social media discourse. There's a lot of it about basketball. Like I will say this, the people that I notice the most because they're saying annoying things, they also talk about the basketball, but that ain't the stuff that the algorithm gonna bounce around because the things that makes people mad is gonna be what the algorithm bounces around left and right. But I can say for myself personally, I have not done a good enough job as I would have hoped to actually learn something about the basketball. And goodness gracious, I need to because I hate everything else. Like what the discourse has become. Sean, I think I told you about it the other day where they, the back and forth that I wound up having over the idea of make Caitlin Clark a broadcaster since y'all want her on the broadcast so bad. And I was getting it left and right from everybody. And I was just like, damn, everybody's so mad at this. And I'm like, we don't have to talk about this. Like we're not required. And so much of what makes everybody talk about this seems to be addressing the people they don't like. You know what I mean? Like the basis of the conversation is, well, you know what they're going to say about this, or, man, if this was such and such, or ... and everything else. And that just has to feel miserable to everybody, right? None of us are required to do this. Like, are we just that addicted to chaos?
in most sports like arguments, there's always one side that's a little bit more right and coming from a place of genuine truth. I feel like in the WNBA, both sides of the discourse are both pretty wrong and bad about their thoughts and takes. It's every side.
Everybody's. Because everybody's just playing against the other team. Like the discussions, at least as far as it seems to me, it's just everybody's talking about the other team, right? So hopefully I'll get better at talking about the basketball. We'll get other people out here better at talking about the basketball. But I also want to send a shout out to the universe because I had made a call out there that like we needed some cats to do some stuff or some people to do some stuff that we could talk about. And it used to be like 15 years ago, what you'd be lucky for is somebody would go to jail, but they wouldn't go to prison. You know, like that's all we needed, just kind of some lighthearted criminality that we could get into. And shout out to, I don't even know who Buddy name is, but apparently some player got caught up because a woman put his business in the street because apparently he had paid her for some nookie and then he tried to run. And they got him on camera trying to run out without, like, I don't want to be crass, so I won't make the rhyme, but it's like dining and dashing, except we're not talking about food. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, Buddy tried to break out this hotel room and little mama that he owed the money to, I don't know like where she played in college. I don't know what her shuttle time is, but she was right on his tail. And I think this dude was like a DB or something like that. Like he played one of the fast people positions and she was on him. She was bearing down on him. She had closing speed like LT in Tecmo Bowl. She was going to get her money. I don't know what was going to happen once she came across him. Apparently nothing, because she had to get on the internet trying to get her money, but she was going to get her money. And I'm looking at Buddy, and I know exactly what you're thinking, right? Because you're like, hey, if I didn't pay, it's not a crime, so what's she going to do, call the police? Wow, somebody called it that bump and run. I didn't expect that, but I'm like, okay, we getting that. The dude, Isaiah Buggs, have you seen him? He played for the Chiefs. You can probably know he plays from the Chiefs from his name, Isaiah Buggs. The Chiefs, when they draft a brother, they draft a brother. They're going to make sure you know it's a brother off the page. Like I say, sometimes it's normally because it's all them syllables and an eus, perhaps an apostrophe. But Isaiah Buggs, that filled in. And so this charge right here, they charged him with domestic violence and battery. And after they got him for malnourishing his pit bulls. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying that this is at all lighthearted. Like, if the accusations are true, it's obviously terrible. But, Sean, did you see what his excuse was or his lawyer's thing was for why they busted him?
I did not. I'm very curious.
He says it's all a conspiracy because the local authorities in Tuscaloosa want to shut down the hookah bar that he just opened.
So it's always a conspiracy.
That's his story. That his version of Bill Cosby was gonna buy NBC is that he got this hookah bar and they want to shut down his hookah bar. That's why they came and they took away his malnourished dogs in the backyard, one of whom had to be euthanized, and they're going so far as to get him for domestic violence and battery, all because of a hookah bar.
I got to tell you, a hookah bar might not be the best investment.
Yeah, I would also like to take note that, and I can't speak for you about this, maybe this is just me, but I understand that it's no longer a pandemic, but the hookah bar is kind of low on my list of things that I'm willing to do. Now, don't get me wrong, if you've been to one of my live events, I got so much room to judge, but I still feel like a hookah bar is a different animal.
Yeah, your live events doesn't have like a communal,
right,
thing for everyone.
Yeah, and that hookah be going everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It goes everywhere. But we also had, by the way, on other things to talk about, Klay Thompson unfollowed the Warriors. And I want to, how do we pass this law? No sports stories, no sports news allowed about unfollows. None. Like, they just put the thing on Twitter where they hide who you like. But like, would you click like on? And I'm okay with that. But you kind of do need to know who people follow because it helps you let you know who's credible or not. You know, like if some of my people follow somebody, that helps me tell if I'm dealing with a bot or whatever it is. It's helpful, right? But we can't make stories. Draymond had it right. This is hilarious. We can't make stories about who follows, who unfollows, whatever it is. There is a who was that was talking about this, and it's true. Talking about like what's going on with these times. It's Kendrick Perkins. We talking about the thing with him and LeBron, where there really are like these accounts who keep track of when people in sports media unfollow each other. I don't even know who unfollows me. I don't even judge. I got friends who unfollow me. It's not that big a deal. It cannot be that. But I will say this, as I have wondered all year long, Sean, what the hell does Klay Thompson think he about to get?
You know, his agent's in his ear being like, well, we're going to get you the max. We're going to vie for the super max. And it's like, I don't know, maybe like veteran mid-level exception for a championship contender, not the Warriors? Like, I just don't know with him.
I just want to know what he watches when they be in there watching film. Right? Like, is he somehow watching a different movie than everybody else? That's all I want to know. What is he watching when everybody else is watching film?
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. No need for the social media feeds. We got you. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, Bo, here's the first story of the day.
Last Monday, at its annual software conference, Apple finally unveiled its entrance into the generative AI race. The company announced Apple Intelligence, a suite of AI features that will be integrated into iPhones, iPads, and MacBooks this fall. There'll be a writing assistant, new ways to sort the photo library, an image generating tool, email summaries, and, maybe most significantly, an upgraded Siri that can act as a sort of executive assistant, checking flight info and monitoring traffic, writing emails, managing your calendar. Apple's Senior Vice President of Software Engineering said, "This is AI for the rest of us." That line was telling. It illustrates how Apple sees itself, not just as a gadget and software company, but as an ecosystem that will filter and manage every aspect of your digital and physical life. Apple has become a life expediter, and generative AI provides a perfect tool for further optimization. Also notable is that Apple is partnering with OpenAI to bring some ChatGPT features to its devices. That's good news for Apple, in that it gets access to some of the most cutting-edge AI models. But the partnership arguably offers even more to OpenAI. There are billions of Apple devices in the world, each a perfect vehicle to inject AI into your life, whether you like it or not. The iPhone, in other words, was an AI Trojan horse in the waiting. When Apple Intelligence rolls out this fall, it will be a massive, consumer-facing injection of AI into our lives, a sign that the technology will soon be inescapable. But it's not inevitable. Generative AI, after all, is riddled with flaws. When Google tried to put AI responses into its search engine last month, the AI started telling people to eat rocks, literally. And Google has since appeared to pull many of those AI responses back from search. Apple Intelligence will be even more closely woven into people's lives, and it will present an even greater test for the future of generative AI.
Bro, I got to be honest. When he said the thing right there about telling people to eat rocks, I was thinking just like kick rocks, and it was just being funny, right? It didn't really dawn on me until the end, like, oh no, it was probably telling people that they should eat rocks.
Literally.
Like they should chew, masticate
yes.
rocks.
It's crazy with AI is like if hearing how there's been so many issues in AI and they're still working through the kinks, and yet AI is like making everyone else already dumb. I'm just worried like it's like Dumb and Dumber. Like it's just, you know, what they say like iron sharpens iron. It's like the exact opposite of that.
Can I be honest though? If you do actually then say to yourself, cool, I will eat those rocks, that's on you.
Well, Google told me to.
Whatever. Yeah. Like I feel like whatever happens to you when it's time to eat the rocks, that's I can't really put that on the AI. But worth noting, like I think we need to stand up to the AI just kind of on principle. I know that sounds crazy, but I do think we just kind of need to stand up to the AI. And I would also say that somebody made the point to me, I think I may have talked about it here, but it was somebody who listens to the show. and I can't remember who it was, but somebody, more of that world. And they were like, dude, relax, chill out. Don't be so worried about the AI because the AI companies aren't actually making any money. However, let me tell you who is making money. Apple. Apple's making money. Apple has all the money. So them figuring out how to put it in their stuff, I mean, I can see where the benefits are to it. I really, really can. It's just going to be all fun and games until the AI turns on us, right? And then we out here like slaves to them. That's to the AI, just to be clear. That's my only issue with it, is that it's clear it's going to turn bad. But no, it's going to be worked into a bunch of stuff. And what I worry about is just simply that we have a society that struggles with discernment more than ever. And so the issue is not that AI gets it wrong. It's that, honestly, the current American is too stupid to know any better. That's where we have our problems. And to be fair, that's not AI's fault.
Yeah, I wonder how many people actually did eat rocks over the weekend, thanks to Google.
Oh, wow.
All right, here's our next clip.
Hello, my name is Juliana Kaplan, and I'm a senior reporter over at Business Insider, where I cover how the economy impacts workers and vice versa. I'm here to talk about a story I just did looking at who's working from home and who's working from the office full time. So basically, what this most recent data from the Survey of Working Arrangements and Attitudes found is that older Gen Xers and younger boomers are either all in on the office or all out. They are either the most likely to be working in office full-time or the most likely to be working from home full-time. Among the other generations, we're seeing much more of a hybrid mix. And in some ways, this makes sense. Some Gen Xers and boomers have moved far away from the office. They have a settled life. They probably have a nice spacious house, or they're really used to going into the office. At the same time, we're seeing this hybrid push really driven continually by Gen Zers and millennials. Millennials, for instance, also probably moved away from their office, maybe had kids, maybe bought a house out in the suburbs, but come in once or twice a week. Same thing with Gen Zers, who are at the start of their careers and want to see people, but also started their careers during a full work from home era.
I have to say, I had a very interesting situation when I was working on Game Theory, the show I did for HBO. And what made it interesting was we were in the office. And by we, I mean everybody else. I was hybrid. I had days where you knew that I wasn't coming in. But the issue was with COVID, if I got sick, we couldn't have a show. So I thought everybody wanted to make their money, right? So you would rather me be at home so you could get your check. Okay, cool. Because we got paid by the episode. So anyway, but I did hybrid. And I have to say, I found hybrid to be the best of both worlds. It is interesting to see that for a lot of people, they don't want the in-between. They either want the all the way or the other. And to me, I would think the in-between is just kind of low-key perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, I know for this show, I'm coming in twice a week, and I genuinely like being in the office. I can tell that there's a lot of young people who have never understood the office culture and are clearly there's a hole in their life and they're wanting some sort of socializing and wanting to be a part of something. But I could tell a lot of people my generation, even older, are if I could stay home, I'll just stay home.
Yeah, I do wonder though, and I think we talked about this, and if you haven't heard before, I don't know where these youngsters are supposed to make friends. If you're in the workforce sort of thing, and not even from the standpoint of you meeting the friends at work, but at the happy hour or whatever, it contributes to a certain rhythm of American life that, again, we talked about this before, that gets to be disturbed or disrupted just a little bit. But what I found interesting about that was really the all or nothingness of it, that people either want to be in the office all the time or they want to be in the office never. I would have thought that a little drop here and there would have been the way to go.
And I would assume the people who are all in on not going to the office have enough in their life to socialize. They have enough community or friends where they can go out and find that versus needing an office to do so.
Yeah, for the show that we do here, I'm at my house. And the commute is the thing I just don't feel like dealing with. If it were an office with people in it, I would be okay with going if I didn't have to commute. If it was 5 minutes away, I'd do it. It would be no issue. It would be no problem. For me, what I gained back was the time that I used to burn commuting.
Yeah, like an hour on a subway is no good for anyone, you know.
Man, look here. After we had been locked in for a while and around the horn, started going back to the studio, and I got on that train, and it was the summer, and I made that like 3/4 of a mile walk from the train stop I got off on to the door at the office, and I was like, oh baby, and it was a 40-minute like door to door, 45. We've been doing this wrong, baby. We've been doing this wrong.
All right, but here's the last clip.
My name is Jessica Winter, and I write about family and education for The New Yorker. Not long ago, it felt as though every time I opened up TikTok or Instagram, I was seeing another entry in the hashtag 80s Dance Challenge, in which the adult or teenage children of Gen Xers were capturing their parents dancing in their kitchens and living rooms to the song Small Town Boy by Bronski Beat. We're used to parents cavelling about their kids on social media, but we don't necessarily see children beaming pride at their parents and showing them off in the same ways. And the gentle surprise of that reversal, I think, was part of what made these videos so popular. They also got me thinking more generally about creators who use their parents in their work across formats and platforms, what those choices bring to their art, and what kinds of ethical issues are sometimes raised. Sometimes these choices are as straightforwardly charming and affectionate as those TikTok videos, like Donald Glover casting his mom as his mom in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. She's wonderful, by the way. At other times, the choices feel far more complex, as with Gerard Carmichael's reality show, where a major theme is his parents' disapproval, particularly his mother's disapproval, when Carmichael comes out as gay. Both of his parents often seem uncomfortable or reluctant to be on camera. And in trying to put Carmichael's project into a kind of historical context, I realized how many of our greatest artists have used their parents prominently in their work, from Andy Warhol to John Cassavetes to Chantal Ackerman to, of course, Martin Scorsese, who is actually both the child and the parent in some of these works. His mother, Catherine, appeared memorably in several of his films, and his daughter, Francesca, features him in her very popular TikToks. Whenever an artist attains a threshold of recognition and renown, their audience naturally starts asking, where do you come from? What shaped your sensibility? Who influenced who you became? And when artists bring their parents into their work, I think they're trying to answer that question in ways that can be really moving and really surprising.
I wish I had never told you people anything about my family ever. It is, I, in many ways, I feel like I've made their worlds less safe because of the ridiculous ways that people respond to me. I wish I'd never told any of you a word. I see the emails that people have sent my family. I've seen the things that people send to their house. I wish personally I had never put my family in anything. Now, something I think that happens a lot of times is kind of what happened to me, which is you start off and you small and it's not a big deal, and you're trying to give people this idea of like, hey, we're all friends and we all get to know each other and everything else. And that kind of works like on small scale, like TikTok kind of stuff or whatever. But then you get to the point, the majority of the people who are looking at you are not your friends. They do not wish you well. They don't necessarily mean you harm, but the majority does not actually wish you well. And you have now exposed your parents because, ha ha, it's funny, right? But at the same time, again, when we were doing game theory, we did something once on HBCUs. My mother's worked at HBCUs for many, many years. And we wrote the script, and people were like, yo, we got this idea of putting your mom in. And I'm like, look, I'm going to defer to you on this because I don't like this idea at all. I think it's a terrible idea. And they were just like, do you guys really think anybody cares about this? Right? Like, I'm 40-something years old. Like, I don't think anybody cares about seeing my mom. They're adamant, nah, people will think this is cool. And so I'm like, okay. Call my mom and ask, and I'm like, my brother will go down there and set up. You know, he does camera stuff or whatever. Man, listen, my sister cut a check for my mama to have a makeup artist come out there. She was ready for her close-up, Jack. Like it was time. Like now I look back on it and I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad she had that opportunity because she was very proud and it made her very happy to do. But no, I'm not trying to make any content out of my parent. No, I'm just not. No.
I think to your point, that HBCU thing is like the moment was right and it was come from an earnest place. But yeah, the what's the like aftermath of putting your family on camera with so many eyes on it that, like you said, the fact that you got emails or letters is pretty disgusting to hear about.
Well, I'll also say this. I think the idea of making content out of your parents is a lot better than what we see far more, which is people making content out of their children. Very often they're young children who don't have any agency in this process. And that's where it's a big problem. Because I'm going to be honest with you, man. Some of your kids are ugly. We see it. We know it. And your behavior is what dictates whether or not we decide to tell you the truth. But you keep putting these ugly children out here thinking that's going to save the ridiculous things you be out here saying to people. And I be the one to tell you, man, it's an ugly little snaggletooth kid you got up there. I don't even care if it's a girl. Like, that's, like at some point you out here, a lot of y'all out here using them kids as shields, okay? Shields, I tell you, because that's what people do to ugly people. They put them out front and make them take all the blows. But oh no, it's going to be you getting the feelings hurt.
All right, Bo, this week's voicemail prompt was when a white boy in the vein of Brian Scalabrine has cooked you on a basketball court, got some good
Billy Ho!
Here's our first one.
Hey, what's going on, Bo? This is Tony, first time call, long time listener. I'm going to tell you a story about the time that me and my partners got caught slipping by Brian Scalabrine of sorts. So we was kids during the summertime. We used to come around. We used to go play ball at the park. It's summertime in the night. This is what we do. And so these guys come up on their bicycles. They got on like the short sleeve shirt with the tie. And they started talking to us. And we couldn't find out they were Mormon missionaries. So they trying to talk to us. We kids. We want to joke. We really want to hear what they had to say. So they said, I tell you guys what. We'll play you guys one-on-one in basketball. And if we win, you guys just have to just have a conversation with us. If we lose, we'll just leave. So, man, we got there. And we got ready to start playing ball with these dudes. And, man, they started playing. You know how you can look at somebody and you can just tell, like, they were like a hooper, like with their shot, their form. Like, man, these dudes was, like, killing us, man. I mean, my boy, who was all-state in Georgia, which probably don't mean a whole lot, but he was all-state at the time, and he was playing college basketball at Alpha State. And, man, this guy took him off the dribble. He was dunking. They had another guy, man, I mean, he was out there shooting. Another guy just handing that rock off, and I mean, these dudes just gave us the business. But we didn't know at the end of the game that, one of these dudes that played college basketball at the University of Utah, one that played at BYU, and actually one that played at Sac State, and they were just out here, doing that more mission work. And, man, we have to talk to those dudes, but, yeah, we got Brian Scalabrine for sure. I love the show. Keep up the good work. Bye.
Hold up. They got cooked by the Mormons, and then they had to listen to them?
That's worse than getting cooked.
Dang. The best part about that is, man, the Mormons knew exactly what was going on, bruh. They knew the moment that they were like, okay, well, why don't we make this deal? You were making an assumption. They were like, it goes this way every time with those black guys. They always think they got something. And then they decide that they mean business.
And they probably were cooking them in like a dress shirt and some slacks, not even basketball clothes.
Yes, correct. I'm saying that short sleeve dress shirt.
Yep. All right, here's the next clip.
Hey, Bomani, Sean, this is Carter from Dallas. I'm going to tell you about the time I had to take on racism on behalf of my teammates. I had to stand on business. Living in Dallas, I may have acquired some weirdo tendencies, but I grew up in Memphis until the age of 15. So not only am I invited to the barbecue, I'm nice on the grill with both the ribs and the brisket. Anyways, I started my junior and senior year at a 5A school here in Dallas in the late 90s, early 2000s. We're playing in one of those Thanksgiving tournaments in North Dallas, where the teams on the floor were diverse, but let's just say the fans didn't all sit together. But in pregame warm-ups, I hear one of those 6-letter words with the hard R getting yelled at our star player. And before he can turn around, I run up in front of the entire student section, and I threaten everyone's life. I literally told them I was going to kill them all. We're 10 minutes out. I got the refs pulling me over to the bench. It's on. Now, my role in the team was never to score that much. It was more like Draymond Green. More like Raymond Green, I guess. I could give you 5 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 hard fouls that might knock your neck loose. And if there's probably a team post, it's probably of me setting like a hard screen or something. But that night, Bo, for 48 minutes, White Dante emerged. So the game starts, and I hit a 3 early, which is rare. I start talking my trash to the fans, but it's a Thanksgiving game, and all the girls are there. So after each shot, dead balls, timeouts, I casually walk over to those same racists and talk to their girlfriends right in front of them. No shame. After every shot, winking to the sidelines, giving the call me gesture. I'm having the time of my life. Tie ball game, 10 seconds left. We go down the court, and I pull up from deep, hitting my 5th 3 of the night, thinking I had just won the game. I may get to play D2 ball somewhere. Who knows? They go back down the court, and with 2.5 seconds, hit a half-court shot to send it to overtime. We lose. Our coach told us not to foul, and ever since that day, I've been on team, always fouling up 3. My guys still talk about that game until this day, and they are still mad at me that I never scored more than 10 points after that. Love the show. Mavs in 7.
Hero we needed in our time, but I only want to know one thing. What that man girlfriend looked like. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. I mean, he spit out his bona fides, and normally I find that to be a bit patronizing, but I got to say, the bullet points on his resume was strong. Strong, I tell you. Strong. Well played, homie. Well played.
When he hit us with the Raymond Green, I was like,
yes,
that's enough for me.
Yeah. Well done.
I see the picture. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. I bet it's lined up fresh.
All right, here's our last clip.
Hey, Bo. My name is Matt. I'm from Southwest Louisiana. And between that and my accent, you probably already know which side of the Scalabrini equation I'm on. Anyway, around 8th grade, I was playing on a little AAU team, and let's say we had a talent deficit. My dad was a coach, so he went around town recruiting, and he found another coach who was willing to let his son come play point guard on our team if I would go play center on their team in their league. So we did the deal. When I show up, turns out it is the church league downtown. As you might not be surprised to learn, that meant I was the only white kid in the entire league. I do not mean our age group. No, I mean the entire league. Talking hundreds of kids, age anywhere from 6 to like 18. So every time I walk in that gym, I've got a target on my back. That's fair. I get it. And before one of these games, it got a little too overt. Guy got in my face, let me know he was going to embarrass me and that I was never going to be able to show my face in that gym again. I said, all right, let's get it. One of my buddies heard the whole thing going down. He was playing guard. He made sure I got the ball. And, yeah, I gave him a quick double-double. It's a church league with a, running clock even during free throws. So it's a quick game. Still gave him like 18 and 15 and, snatching boards, giving him post moves. And, walked out of that gym with my head held high, even though that target stayed on my back. Now, I must have ruffled some feathers because the next season, the second I put my foot on the court, the opposing coach challenged my age. Turned out I was a month or two too old to be playing in the league, so I got sent home. That's all I got. Thanks, Bo. Love the show. See you.
They went and researched you. They went like, who is this white man? we gonna get to the bottom of this. I also want to take note here, by the way. Shout out to the first brother who made his call. I think his name was Tony. Did he say his name was Tony? Shout out to him. Shout out for him for being willing to come tell his truth. Because I'm taking the fact that we had to take 2 of these calls from white dudes as an indicator that some of y'all ain't want to come out here and be real about what your experiences were. Y'all had a little bit too much pride. Like, y'all the ones who don't want to call in and tell the stories about when that pro athlete hollered at your girl and pulled her dead in your face. All y'all got all the game. Nah, bro, you not fooling me. White boys be coming in there serving y'all up. So I appreciate... Well, I was going to say I appreciate the white dudes who called in, but let's be real. They can't wait to tell that story. They love that. I bet I can't imagine how tired their friends are hearing about that time that they lit the black dudes up. Hey, everywhere he go, he'll be like, yeah, you remember that, man. I walked in there, man. It was like above the rim. Dude put a razor blade out his tongue and everything.
Yeah, they were living for this moment.
They are. But Sean, speaking of living for the moment, you got prize picks for the people.
I sure do, Bo. Game 5, NBA Finals. I'm calling these picks the Derricks. So let's start Derek Lively, who, like you said earlier, Bo, has been looking a little bit more lively in this series. 19 points, rebounds, and assists. I'll take more there. He's been a double-double machine. Derek White, 15.5 points. I can see Derek White making a couple threes, getting a little putbacks, and scoring over 15 points. And then Derek Jones Jr., 2.5 boards. I can see him easily getting 3 boards. So I'm rooting for the Derricks tonight, regardless of what happens between the Mavs and the Celtics.
There we go. Sean the Optimist got you guys taken care of. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this here 3 times a week. That's Sean Yu. He handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, thanks to our If You Haven't Heard contributors. Thanks to Juliana Kaplan of Business Insider. Check out her story on Gen Xers and Boomers giving up on hybrid work at businessinsider.com. Thanks to Mateo Wong of The Atlantic. Check out his story on how the iPhone is an AI Trojan horse at theatlantic.com. And thanks to Jessica Winter of The New Yorker. Check out her story on the delicate art of turning your parents into content at newyorker.com. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. And we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.